into our first segment, which is called The Main Hand. And I wasn't able to do it last time, so I'm going to tell y'all what the main hand is. The main hand specializes on different categories such as music, sports, entertainment, or culture. So during this time frame, anything that's going on that anybody wants to talk about, that is something that I want to bring to the table. I know last week we covered a lot about sports because IU, baby, but that is not something that is really our core thing, but we want to be able to talk about anything that is relevant. So with that being said, I think it's time that I turn it over to somebody, because you know me, I can talk, but somebody else wanted to bring something to their attention. So transitioning and giving it to my co-host King Stacks, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him and let him bring us in to the main hand.
Howdy. Listen, something that's been all over my feeds this week, something that sparked a lot of conversation, super controversial, that I want to bring it up and put it on the table to get y'all opinions. One, that's that Druski skit. The Druski, for those who don't know, Druski dropped a skit last week, kind of imitating megachurches and some of the antics that they put on. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, it was funny. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I laughed. I ain't gonna lie. Listen.
The money with the Jesus you are was.
Listen.
That was fun.
I was over there and I was like, in the back of my head, my brain is screaming, uh-oh. But I mean, my whole honest opinion is, and I've seen this a lot, the unfortunate thing about it is, that is how some of these institutions, like one thing, somebody brought a point up. He said, when it comes to, I think it was Dr. Umar, but he was like, the whole point of a lot of comedians is to over exaggerate a lot of truthful situations in the form of satire. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that is one thing that can definitely be the case, because we've seen different examples of it on social media. Because it's Druski, he's going to always do something controversial, or he's going to always tip his toe in that water just a little bit, his big toe. But I think for me, especially as a Christian, like, it wasn't something that I was like offended by, or I can't believe but I feel like he did allow a lot of room for different conversations, man.
Like I said, man, I feel like it can go either way. Drewski voice, it can go either way. I do feel like that is how, like Keyshawn said, a lot of that stuff is true. And like you said, because it is Drewski and he likes to kind of tread that line, it can go either way. But overall, I did laugh. I thought it was kind of funny, but it wasn't something that I really took to heart, and I didn't see it in a negative light.
Okay, tight. Preach, you got any thoughts on it?
As a minister and motivational speaker, as a person who's trained in a pulpit, who's giving his talking, who's anointed is preaching in a sense, there's a deep side that I will always lean into. And then there's the real side that you complement with that. So I'll go real and I'll go deep, because deep is shorter. The real side is worldly. You have to make up your mind what you are out here. If you are faithful, you don't necessarily have to be offended if you're not involved in it. I don't like the idea that faithful people get offended like they're doing it. If they're calling out the wrongdoing of men who are on these pulpits, which that's what he did, even if that's not what he meant to do. Kay took the only take that I agreed with today. I saw Umar's. It was the only one I agreed with. As a pretty crack jokes, I'm around a lot of comedians. That is their job. I think he blasted one specifically, which was Mike Todd. He came directly for Mike Todd's megachurch. I think you have to understand that to know like that he didn't just call out megachurches. He got up there dressed just like Mike Todd had the same suit on. He was mimicking a specific megachurch, but it's entertainment. The deep side, for me, I'm never going to laugh fully at any mockery of faith, the same way I will never laugh fully at any mockery of anyone's culture or belief system, because what about my belief do you feel the need to mock? I think I've never liked what you call classless comedians. where you don't have enough material. So you start making fun of stuff. Like the only way you can be funny is making fun of somebody or something. And it's not dialogue based. Like for me, I will never talk about nobody's family, their parents, or their kids, because that's just lines I won't cross. It's classless. So it's funny until you dip into why did you do it? Why did you need to crack jokes at faith? He exposed something, and to the mega churches that have a problem, and it's something that have called him out. Got a pastor got on there and started cussing, like just prove his point even more. Stop doing the wrong stuff. Stop acting a fool. Stop using the church as a pipeline for your pockets. Stop pimping it where it's used for a safe haven for salvation and faith, and you won't have niggas on the stage clowning your ministries.
Nah, yeah, I share a lot of the same opinions that y'all expressed. I've seen in some Christians an outrage, like head over heels, upset over the skit. My honest take, when I first watched it, I didn't even crack a smile just because like of the nature of it. Like I was like, this is bold. But at the same time, I think he did shed a light on an important thing. Like I seen some examples. One person was like, okay, you've done Christians, are you going to do Muslims and other religions as well? Because people like to, when we talk, like make fun of or make jokes, I guess, out of religions, a lot of people like to target Christians and how Christians can be two-faced or judgmental and things like that. I don't hear a lot of jokes about the other religions. And so I feel like that was a valid call out. But in the same sense, I don't necessarily think that he was mocking God or necessarily mocking faith per se. How some people were in outrage over it as well. Also, Preach, I think that picture, I know exactly what you're talking about, that Mike Todd. I wouldn't say that was AI. I think they put Mike Todd's face over Druski's body. I know that you're talking about the Dior suit.
But you know what? I know exactly what you mean, because now looking at it, I was like, dang, Mike Todd game week.
Yeah, I think that was
like all that money eating good.
I will say too, so on my first watch, I didn't really crack a smile, but the part that I kind of chuckled on, I thought was kind of fried when he was he was hanging from the suspender or whatever. He was like, you might be wondering why I'm wearing Christian Dior suit. He's like, because I'm a Christian and I walk in the blood. That was hilarious to me. Oh,
the red box, bro.
I walk in the blood.
Hey, it was clever. It was smart. I ain't gonna lie.
It was, bro.
Druski is funny to me. Katie know that. That man makes me laugh. I will never sit here and say Druski's not funny. I think you're really bitter at that point. Like you're not just mad at jokes. You're mad that he's funny at all. Like, but there is this sense, right? There is this idea that other cultures don't go this hard on each other. I've yet to see it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to get deep. I'm just like, I think the reason why we only see our leaders do this, because we make more money destroying each other.
So I actually had some examples that like make sense why he made the skit and why he reenacted the things he reenacted. Like there's actually a pastor who had some company come out and install that flying mechanism in their church. He had some people go to a flying school to learn how to actually maneuver and use that whole mechanism. There was a pastor who said God told him that he wants to make someone a multimillionaire. And the only way that he can do that is if someone sold a seed of $10,000 in the next 19 seconds. And they reiterated that this is what God told him, and that he will make you a multimillionaire, whoever can sell a seed of $10,000 in 19 seconds. And so that just goes to further the whole idea that these mega churches are just money hungry. There's another example, we probably all seen this one, with Marvin Sapp. I think I did find out on the back end that he was at a pastor's conference and it wasn't like an actual church service. So it was all pastors or like high leaders or something there. But it's still kind of crazy because, you know, he said there's 1,000 individuals here right now who can sow the seed of $20,000 with the ushers to close the doors. And they wasn't going to leave until 1,000 individuals sow the seed of $20,000. It's like tithe and offering is not supposed to necessarily be, you're not supposed to have a number on it. I feel like, you know, the Bible says 10%.
Yeah, like an agenda or something like that.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of education that gets missed with that. And I'm glad you brought that up. It's like a double standard, right? Here's what I never like. What do you think these buildings run off? What do you think keeps them lights on? What do you keeps the heat in them? I don't understand why people think church, the building, doesn't have to have some type of business attached to it. Because if you don't pay nothing, if they don't have any type of money getting poured into it, you don't have a church building to go to. I think people have gotten so, they don't want to go to church. They don't want to hear about faith. They think it comes with, they can't live the way they want to live. And so people blame the walls of that church for the lifestyle they don't want to live at. And I want to make this very clear. You don't got to go to church if you don't want to. You don't got to be faithful if you don't want to. You can live this life however you see fit. There is some of this that people are trying to project where they fall short in the faithful living, and they blame it on people. And then now they nitpicking at stuff. The way it went was, back then it was 10% of your harvest because they had land and everything else. So this was their sacrifice because there was no holiness in you. This was your sacrifice. When Jesus dies, he paid for all of you. So your harvest has been paid because you couldn't afford it. You see what I'm saying? Your sins have been paid for. Now you're supposed to see. I think what has happened is there's a lot of people who are in churches, just like there's a lot of people in jobs and families that were never supposed to be in those positions. That's why it gives you discernment. You let them in these positions, and then people get all pissed off when these people who are never supposed to be here start doing stuff you ain't never supposed to do. Like line their pockets from the church's pool that's supposed to keep the body and the temple running. I want every faithful person to remember, you will answer for that. This conversation, this is how we get deep. Because that's not a small conversation. I would tell any believer, seek the word for yourself. Study the word for yourself. If you're going to live a faithful life, you are accountable for your walk, nobody else's. And you are more held accountable for the souls that you lead astray than that of your own.
So preach, you touched on something. You said discernment. At the end of the day, I think it does come down to discernment. If you call yourself a Christian, if you go into church, you really have to like take a look at your church. Ultimately, I think it also comes down to your level of faith and how strong your faith is in God and in the church itself. And then with the skit specifically, in short, I think Druski was wilding. I thought that coming in with the flying and then
But he was having fun he was turning up on that skit.
And after watching it a few times, like I said, my first time I was like, whoa. But after watching it a few times, I was like, okay. Because I also know that there is some truth to it, like the examples I gave. There's some truth to it. So,
there's some
but
truth
also
to it.
ultimately, I feel like if you're strong in your faith, if you have the discernment and you know Jesus Christ yourself, one, I think you have to know that like he wasn't lying. And then two, like if you're not a part of the problem, you should really be offended. You want to take us over to the next, or how you what?
I just want to make sure. Is there a
how you what? Boy, I ain't heard
How
that
you
in a long time. How you what, bro?
Shout out that, man.
Wow.
How you what, man?
Shout out to
Yeah, how you what, man? How you over there?
Shout out to the 317.
Yeah, I'm cooling, bro.
Shout out to
shout it out.
Is there anything else before we move on to the next segment that y'all want to discuss? Because appreciate that, King Stacks, because
hey man,
that was interesting.
Shout out to Cole World.
We be
the
talking.
real is back. The Ville is back. Flow Bananas here. Pilled is back. Come on, man. That boy Cole is dropping the fall off. Did y'all see that?
Hey, let me tell you something. That's my favorite rapper.
Yes, sir. I'm with you when you brought it, my boy. Yes, sir.
What I'm hearing is the Black Car Crew might have to do a little something special. You know,
we gotta listen to it, man.
Don't play with me because I will start.
Shake back, bro.
Shake back. With
he dropped track 2.
Friday Night Lights, and we will end up all the way.
Listen, I'm going bar for bar. Bar for bar. I'm on it.
From him to
wait, have y'all heard the new song that he dropped?
Nope, not yet. I don't like it when they post all of it. Like I'm curious.
He just posted, I think he said track 2 or disc 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm a listen.
I don't want to
got it.
listen to nothing until it drops.
Y'all not real cold world
I
with that.
appreciate.
I'm
Nah,
listening.
I'm like
I
that. I'm like that with
y'all.
every. I don't even like watching 2K trailers because I want to play 2K when 2K come out.
So when you go to the movie theater, do you don't watch trailers of your movies that you go?
He
No.
always late.
No,
He adjusts the time.
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want to know
15
nothing.
minutes.
There's a purity to that. But with J. Cole, it's like hip hop. It's a dying breed, J. Cole. So I think I tune out
Facts.
that when I listen to these legends that I became a musician because of, not really because of, but Forest Hill Drive was probably to this day the greatest thing that I ever heard because of what I was dealing with. So when I listen to J. Cole
Facts.
on some real non-emotional stuff or non-fair girl
Mhm.
stuff, it's not me just listening to a song. It is listening to a poet that was combing through the wombs in which I was still bleeding with at 14 years old.
And see, look, I want to point
Funny.
something out. J. Cole ain't never went viral or trended on TikTok. We ain't never seen a TikTok challenge to a J.
No.
Cole song.
Bro, the man is
Why
sold
is
out.
that? Why is that?
Here's the thing. J. Cole talks about a lot of real stuff. And that was one thing that I will say is, and it was crazy because obviously we all know what happened between the Kendrick and the Drake. You feel me? We know what happened. Okay.
Woo!
We're not gonna talk about that. But we're gonna save it. But one thing that was brought up with Cole is all three of them have different styles of music. And the one thing that I was seeing with J. Cole was J. Cole's style of music is he talks like he's still struggling. It's relatable because, as somebody that's not at his level, a lot of his music was representing different things that he was going through at that point before his fame. Some of his music during his fame, obviously his music during his peak, it's a realness to it. He finds different creative ways to talk about real life. Even with, dang, I forgot the name of the album, but that album where he talks about it's the album with the song, okay, the neighbors think I'm selling dope. It's For Your Eyes Only. That was the album. The She's Mine Part 1 and Part 2. Like I'm listening to everything. When you get to like perspective rap and like an artist is actually talking from like a different perspective than his own, and like he's letting the audience know this ain't me. I'm talking through somebody else while talking through it in the music form. I transcend it.
Bro,
I transcend
what?
it.
For Your Eyes Only
I
might be
transcend
one of
it.
the dopest
I
singles.
transcend it. But go ahead. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you
Nah, you
off.
good. It on that for sure. I'm with you, right? I'm 100% right there with you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
with
get
you.
enough love, but also what I was just gonna say kind of goes right into that. I also don't think it's a lot of love that is super important. Even I don't think it'll ever go out of style because of the message behind it. But it's just not a lot of heavy hitters on it, and that's KOD, Killer Demons,
Yes.
Kings
Yes.
Overdose,
Yo,
and was it
yes.
Kids on Drugs, like that right there. Just the fact that it was KOD, those three different meanings, and then the songs that went with it. He talked about so much real and I related to a lot of that stuff. Like as someone who just quit smoking, like I can relate to some of the battles, like the inner conflicts and dialogue that you have with yourself, and like internally, and why you resort to certain things that like drugs that might not be good for you. And I think that's something that, like I said, is never gonna fade because there's still people today that are fighting some of those battles. That I think that KOD album deserves a listen constantly. But he don't make like hype songs. He don't make a lot of bangers, but he
But
do
you
make
know what? When he makes them though,
He make music that you gotta really listen to.
Yes,
You don't appreciate good music like that.
Yeah, like if you don't sit there and really listen to word for word, listen and pay attention, then
You're not
you're
gonna
gonna
catch
miss a lot of stuff. So like
Mhm.
for me, like he's one of those people where you gotta go somewhere by yourself or with people who understand music, and y'all gotta listen to it because he make music where you gotta pause it and be like, bro, did you just hear
Like,
that?
what?
Bro? Did he just say that? Hold on, run that back.
Even now.
You know what I'm saying?
Even now.
The track he dropped,
Yeah.
bro. Never mind.
Stop
Never mind.
talking about it.
Yeah, don't even speak on it.
Bro.
'cause it
No, the King on Drugs, the thing that stood out to me being a teacher, and then for having a best friend that isn't here anymore, not even for just demons. When the little girl talked about just the pain being that little, the sound bite that he used, and I
But my
close my
daddy was
and I go to my room, and I'm like, man, I'm a teacher, bro,
Woo.
and I got kids that deal with, when you see kids deal with that, you know what I'm saying? For him to understand that as an artist, like, you don't know who he's really dealing with outside of his tracks. Like, I think that's the part he does such a daggone good job at humanizing the conversation. J. Cole has always been my favorite because to me, it has never been a rap. It has always been a conversation from an art
Substance.
to a
Yo, it's a it's a
It's a
conversation. He's
yeah,
talking to you.
yeah.
So my
And
question,
Mhm.
I got a question for you then. So going back to the fall off before the floor is back to get to be whatever for the next segment. How do
Mhm.
y'all think, or what do y'all think the conversation is going to be for this album? Because you know, there's always a meaning, there's always a substance, there's always a theme to the albums. 2014 Forest Hills Drives was his upcoming. For Your Eyes Only was a message to his daughter. AOD, Our Demons, Kids on Drugs, all of that. When you got the fall off, which we all know is going to be his last one, what do you think the overlying message, the theme of this album is going to be?
Let me touch on this real quick. I think he is going to, and the one thing I do like about J. Cole, another thing, I feel like he's going to talk about a lot of different points that the reason why he has not been dropping music ever since what was the last Might Delete Later? Ever since, I think because he hasn't been,
that was
you know what I'm
hard.
saying, is because he's finna get into some real stuff. I feel like he might touch
So
on
much happening.
his relationship with, you know what I'm saying, with obviously
Everything.
Drake and Kendrick.
He's
You know
gonna
what I'm
talk
saying?
about it.
But then it's also like, for sure. But then it's also, I think he's going to talk about like the mindset that he's in as far as, you know, what he was hearing. Everybody was like, oh, you trash, you scary,
What?
you know what I'm saying? Like, you not on this level of blah, blah,
He
blah, blah,
ain't the
blah. And
third
it's
grade. Like, he's not part of the big three. Yeah,
you know what I'm
another one.
saying? And it was getting to a point where I was like, okay, y'all getting, what is going on? You know what
This
I'm
is
saying?
Cold
And I
World.
feel like the reason why, exactly. And that's why I'm like, that's why I'm excited, because it's like, even with the off season, it was cool, but I feel like he's going to come with energy that is going to remind you of younger Cole. And I feel like that is what a lot of us is missing. Like, we miss that vibe of Born Sinners. We miss the vibe of 2014 Forest Hill Drive. We miss the vibe of the Sideline Story.
I ain't gonna
like,
lie. Don't sleep on. He said, put your hood up. Put your hood. Bro, I would bump that John to work.
I feel like with the situation that y'all talked about earlier with the Drake and Kendrick, I think it's gonna be a mature diss in there. I think he gonna talk his little stuff in a mature way. It ain't gonna sound like everybody else diss. It's gonna be like some, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know, like when somebody coming for you,
it's gonna be some bars
like,
in there that you like.
Whoa, oh, he was talking about that, but if you're not paying
And then when
attention,
it
you're
click,
not
it's
gonna
gonna be-
realize he talk. You gonna be like,
Y'all saw a little bump. That wasn't even like a diss. That was just like, big dog. That was crazy. He said, "Lil, what?"
So
he said, "I hope that you save every dollar you."
But that's what.
Every dollar you gain. That's it. Go ahead, talk to him, man.
Nah, the last little thing I was gonna say was E had mentioned, which a lot of his songs are this way, so he's not wrong at all. But like you had mentioned, like his music is really the type of music you gotta really like put some brain cells to and listen to. Like you can't like, well, you can. He's definitely got like the Chief's Mind, Folding Clothes. He's definitely got some songs that you can play in the background and kind of vibe out to. But a lot of his songs you have to really be like locked in. But I feel like people only think that's what similar to Rod Wave. People think he only makes that music, which a lot of his music is. So I get it. I am a Rod Wave fan, yes. But he also has bangers. Cole also has bangers. So I'm kind of hoping that, I do feel like he's going to put that GOMD, Preach. But I think that was a song. He has some, man. So I'm hoping in terms of this next album, I think he's going to touch on a lot of things that transpired from the last album till now. So definitely the Drake and Kendrick. I don't think he's going to harp on it. I'm not even sure if he's going to put a whole song to it, because he did separate himself from that situation to take the mature route. But it was so much backlash that I think he has no choice but to mention a little bit.
I don't
but I'm
think
also
it's gonna
hoping
be
that like he puts a lot of like just hard stuff out, put it on display, like y'all, like it's me, like it's Cole, like I'm here.
I don't think he gonna make a specific song. I think it's gonna be little lines throughout the whole. Like I said, you know, he got bangers, but he also does stuff that catches your attention. So it might be like a line or two in every kind of song, that kind of take a shot here, take a shot here. But if you're not paying attention to it, you ain't gonna find it. So it's not like I'm gonna make a whole song just dedicated to this. In this
Mhm.
song, I'm gonna say this. This song, I'm gonna say this. This song, I'm gonna say this. But it's also gonna keep you. Oh, that's a banger. But I'm thinking about it too. You know what I
Can
mean?
I?
I was
I don't really know if we know what the hell we talking about with Fallout 4. I think I think a lot of people haven't really been listening to the man when he talks about being rich ain't really wasn't worth it. Like this, I don't think J. Cole would have taken the money had he known fame was going to be attached to it. He's a purist. And when J. Cole talks about this, I mean, this is a dude who wears hoodies, doesn't go to Grammys, hangs with his bros, still is a homebody, doesn't really, I've never seen him post nothing about his life ever. I've never seen them promote a concert, but he had a sold out world tour that hit record numbers. Kevin Hart was in a podcast and talked about J. Cole. He was like, people don't know that because he doesn't brag it. He works it, executes, and goes back where he goes. I don't think people think legends and legendary poets like him have a love goodbye letter. I think they just fade off. And I don't think J. Cole is going to continue after this. I think he's tired. He wants to say thank you who valued what he brought and understood what he tried to do.